been a month since we first set up the tank, and I haven't done any maintenance apart from weekly water changes. All I can say is the tank looks filthy and the battle with algae is well underway. The majority of the white fungus has gone, apart from a few stubborn clumps. However, hair algae has risen to replace it on some of the twigs. The floating plants have reproduced rapidly, now covering almost half of the surface and casting a lot of shade, and unfortunately there is a lot of duckweed amongst the salvinia. Scoop it up. Upon removing the floating plants, I noticed a few tiny baby shrimp, so I poured the jug into one of my other tanks. The glass on all sides is covered in algae, but it stands no chance versus a good scrub. Baby shrimp! Clear one. Oh, look at them, they look so cool. They're kind of like really clear, but with like an orange head or orange where the saddle is. I saw another one right there. Ooh, very funny looking shrimp. But that one looks a bit more clear. Always makes me so happy seeing the little shrimplings. 2 weeks later, some strange, small, thin white worms appeared on the glass and within the substrate. I was worried at first, but after some research, I realised that they're just detritus worms, which are harmless and can actually be quite beneficial within aquariums. Their population boomed due to the abundance of algae, detritus, and overfeeding on my behalf. As before their arrival, I hadn't actually fed the tank, but after feeding it with shrimp pellets twice, they were everywhere. So after stopping feeding, their numbers dwindled, and soon they were noticeable again. Now 2 months since we set up the tank, and it's desperately screaming for a maintenance session. That hair algae from before is out of control, and the plants are way too long and need trimming. From my personal experience, the best way of tackling hair algae is getting your hands in and just pulling it out, as it doesn't stick to surfaces very hard. Most of it pulls out together, leaving only a few stragglers. Now it's time for the trimming. The slow-growing plants like Crypts, Echinodorus, Anubias and Java Fern are all fine as they are. However, the Limnophylla and other stem plants definitely need trimming. We'll see how long it is. Like, look at this size. After the trimming, I had loads of cuttings of the Limnophylla, all of which can be replanted and reused. I removed the last bits of fungus with tweezers, and after a water change, the tank's looking miles better, much cleaner. 2 weeks later, and the tank looks fantastic. I added a little red plant to add some more colour to the scape. A month later, the tank is now approaching 3 months old, and it's an absolute jungle. The Vallicin area has really taken over, sending out runners all throughout the tank. It all started in the back left corner and spread out all across the back and across the foreground as well. To remove the Vallicin area, I first clipped their conjoining roots and then pulled them out gently, trying my absolute hardest to not disturb the carpet. It's literally as long as the tank. I removed 6 plants, potentially 7 if we class this little runner, but it just goes to show how easy it is to propagate plants, as I started off with 1 and it did all the hard work for me, splitting up into tens of different plants, which I can now replant and repeat the process. The tank is a lot more open after removing the val. It did result in disturbing and uprooting some of the carpet, as the Vallicin area's roots were intertwined with the hair grass and the other plants. The shrimp are enjoying themselves though, and that's all that matters. Once again, I had to pull out the pesky hair algae. However, I needed to be very careful as there were many shrimp grazing amongst it. Sorry shrimpies, get out the way. This beautiful red was intrigued and jumped on my hand to say hello. Shush, 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 shush. Ooh, look at that. Little Java Fern that's been sent out, that's so cute. A few strands of the val had died and lost their colour, so I removed them, leaving only the healthy ones. And after all that hard work, we're left with this absolutely stunning tank. I think it looks amazing, and I'm really pleased with how it's grown in. I think it's safe to say that the shrimp love it too, as they are constantly breeding, and there are shrimp of all sizes throughout the tank, and even better, I haven't had a single death in the 3 months that the tank has been running. As I mentioned earlier, I very rarely feed the shrimp. Because the tank is so densely planted and there are lots of rocks and wood within the scape, this creates a huge surface area for biofilm and algae to form on, which is an all-you-can-eat buffet for the shrimp to graze on. However, just like humans, they do deserve a treat every now and then, so let's feed them one of their favourites, which is some cucumber. To prepare the cucumber, rinse it first and cut into your desired shapes. Now we need to blanch it, which is just a fancy word for boiling, so boil it for 5 minutes, cool it in cold water, and you're ready to go. Thank you very much for watching the video, I really appreciate it. I'm absolutely thrilled with how the tank looks, but let me know in the comments and give us a like if you want. I've also been thinking, I know it is the shimp scape, but we could potentially add some like teeny tiny nano fish. I'm thinking something similar to a chili rasbora, but something different. So if you've got any suggestions, definitely let me know. And if you haven't seen the original build video, check that out now. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, fish friends.